So maybe support him. I am so triggered.
Ah,
Just
all
because
this why.
Um, um, you know, but there's something we should also keep in mind. There's been a lot of people who have been beaten while growing up, and they turned out good. So how do we put this into perspective? Apparently,
Keep in
apparently,
mind, we are beating without what's it called, with schools that they don't pay fee. That man paid $22,000.
US dollars, yeah.
I'm not saying. Wait, no. I'm not saying he has a right. I'm just letting you know. It's just a fact. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
honestly, sorry, but honestly, I feel like sometimes when it comes to like the educational part, we blame the children and we never consider that maybe it's the school that fails the children, not the children
Yeah,
that fail the school. I
yeah.
mean, he was saying that you at your age you don't even know how to read. I'm like, you're going to school every day, unless he's like skipping school or something. But if you're going to school every day and your teacher is supposed to catch up on that thing, and if your teachers don't manage to teach you to the point where you actually understand and know how to read, I mean, then there's something wrong with that school, that
They
education
failed.
system.
The teachers failed
wait,
them.
wait. Do you guys think that the parents could also have a blame about the kid not knowing how to read or not being that well in school? Because I was reading a book some time ago, and the author said that the best teacher actually are the parents, not basically the teachers. So do you guys think like the parents have not been doing their job enough, taking care of the kids, like trying to put them through schoolwork after school, helping them sometimes? Could that also have had an effect?
I
mm,
personally think so. Sorry.
I think so as well, because like from watching the video and especially like the way the boy reacted, it just made me like realize that it probably is not the first time that the father has laid hands on him or said stuff like that. And if your child at that age cannot read, then maybe you have something to do with that, because look at the words you're using. How is any child going to be able to read, like learn to read and not have that in his mind? Like, I think like generally like African parents, they tend to overdo it, because they always like want to put their dreams into our, like, you like God gave you a child to raise that child up, not to come and put your failed dreams in them. Like, if your child does not want to become what you want them to become, don't come and pour your anger out there. Nobody asked you to invest that much money in maths and physics and all that stuff. He did not ask you to do that. That means you failed as a parent to recognize your child's like strong suit.
But what about scenarios where, like, there's this adage that says, "What an elderly man sees while sitting down." Even if you climb to the tallest mountain as a kid, you might not be able to see that. So what if what if he had seen the
Why
future, of the kid, and seen that he will probably be a great mathematician or an
But
astronaut or something like that, and then
but
he's
that's for
not
the
working
kid to
towards.
decide.
Sorry.
That's, I believe that's for the kid to decide. You can like, oh, there's also this saying, you can like drag a horse to the fountain, but you cannot force him to drink.
Hmm.
Like, the kid doesn't see.
wisdom?
Thank you.
Wisdom.
And there's another.
Like,
Ah,
just
all
because
these
you see
wise
it doesn't mean
people.
the child's gonna go there.
If we're at things, there's also this like meme where you have like a monkey, a fish, and I don't know,
Oh, I know that one.
something, and then it says, if you like, you can't judge a fish, like the
Yeah, yeah, I
intelligence
cannot. Yeah,
by
yeah.
its ability to climb a tree or something like that, and that
Hmm.
is I feel like that is really, really accurate. And I could really relate to this guy's story. I mean, I don't know how his whole report looked like or something, but for me growing up, I generally had like A's, 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 and then D in math. It was
Must be
like I
nice.
really, and it was like it wasn't. It just wasn't a thing for me, And I didn't pursue a career, like I'm not an engineer or anything like that. I left I left that part, to other people, you know. That, and it's okay, that doesn't mean that, oh my gosh. I feel like you really, as Geoffrey said, he apparently did well in music, so maybe support him in music. There's so many people. I mean, we have lawyers out there that are driving taxis, and we have music producers out there making millions. So, like, we shouldn't get fooled with all this. There are doctors out here that are, struggling, as in struggling, and singers, that are doing well. And sometimes it really it just takes support. It takes encouragement. That's all. It's not even about money. And one thing that I kind of got from the video, and Manuela kind of touched on that, was that it was definitely not the first time. I mean, it wasn't like he was just born and then he started failing. It starts somewhere. And I feel like in this household, that's taken it a bit far. But it seems like, the dad is only like the money provider, but he doesn't really involve
Like a
himself with the
connection.
children. Exactly, because otherwise you would notice, like even during the semester, you would notice, okay, like this test hasn't been coming, like your grades have been off. Like, what is happening? Let's try and fix it before it even gets to like the end of the term. Not like by the end of the term you're just going off as if it just happened from one day. It's a gradual thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you guys touched this point. For example, what you mentioned about like lawyers who are driving taxi. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Powell's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
He's actually a lawyer. He's actually a lawyer, but he's a music star.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of other African artists who really have good degrees, but they're into music or they're doing something else. Yeah, that's very, very important for us to So coming to that, this thing that normally happens in African homes, where the parents always want to choose a career for their kids. What effect do you guys think this have on our society, on the kids today, and on the society at large?
Close-mindedness. Okay.
Sorry?
No, I was gonna say close-mindedness, but Emmanuel, go ahead.
Okay, Geoffrey, Geoffrey, I think you were ready, right?
Oh, okay. Well, for me, how I see it, I think this is something that is very deep. It's very deep because those parents, in particular, let's take this man. I feel like for him, he was raised under the same circumstances, in the sense that there was only one path he was given. It was like, it's either you are this or we're not to discuss. So if you personally, you are raised in such a setting, and then you come out of it, and then you have a good job, you're getting money, everything is going well for you. For some, assume that it's the right sort of path, even though they don't see why it's good. So they tend to transfer it to the kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, okay, in our family, we're only mathematicians, or we're only professors, we're engineers, for some reason. And maybe God wanted just a musician from your son or daughter. And I feel like you can choose for someone. And personally, even for me, I was as much as I wasn't pushed, it was suggested to me, like over time, like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And most people end up doing it. They'll just do it. Just like all those musicians who have those nice degrees.
Yeah.
You do it and you're like, okay, I've done it. Here's the degree. Now let me go do my degree.
Manuela,
I feel like that's in an ideal setting, even if you actually, because there's some people that are just not made for, like, reading book and stuff like that. There's some people that genuinely it's something that they really struggle with, and they don't do well in it because they just don't enjoy it, and yeah, but they're extremely good with like craft, like carpentry or something like that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've noticed is that
So, Mummy, carpentry in most cases is not something you mention in an African home, by the way.
see, that was what I was going to say. Like, imagine if you go to your parents and you're like, I want to become a carpenter. Eh? What? Like, or like, I want to become a plumber or something like that. But meanwhile, over here, these are the people that they are making cash over here. They can work high. They can, they. I mean, how much does it cost to charge? Like, if you hire a plumber or something like that to come fix something, it's really expensive. So they make money, and they can carry their craft anywhere they go. I mean, if you're a lawyer, you're restricted to the jurisdiction, to the country that you studied in, and I don't know, it's I feel like it really shows, like, even when, like, even more so in Africa itself, like when I go to Ghana, for example, like the way people are treated because of their occupation, crazy.
Yeah.
And they're regarded as less than. And I feel like that's so problematic because, as a society, you need every link. You need the carpenter is just as important as the person cleaning, just as the person is the accountant, just as important as the manager. Everyone has their role that they play, and we need to support everyone. And I mean, we can't all be lawyers and doctors. That's not how that wouldn't even make any sense. And I just don't understand why. I mean, there are people, I know that there are some like African people that they would prefer to, have an office job where they really, really don't do well. They don't get paid well, before they would take a job as like a carpenter or something, even though they know how to do it. Because what would people think? Like, no, I suit and tie. That's my portion. Hey, God forbid me plumber. Like, and it's like, what? I don't know. But
yeah, I think imagine a society where everyone is a lawyer, everyone is a doctor. Who's going to take care of the garden? Who's going to take care of the cleaning in the office? Because I, as a lawyer, I wouldn't want to come to the office and start cleaning up, right? So
okay.
So this is something that a lot of African parents don't put into consideration. I mean, these occupations in most cases are seen as below the others or below standard, but we all cannot be doing the same thing at the same time because we need each other, we need one another to give it a balance, and then so that the society can function properly. And I also kind of feel like this is also something that affects us in Africa as a whole, because everyone wants to aspire to have an office job or to become a lawyer, to be performing surgery. So no one is paying attention to the other kind of
the road. That's why our roads look like that.
Sorry?
Yeah.
That's why our roads look like that. It's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. No one wants to come and clean the road. No one wants to take care of of these things. So So I have.
Sorry.
Yeah,
and that's what also you have people in positions, in high positions, that are not qualified. Like there's some people that are sitting in an office. They don't know anything about the thing, but because some relative got them in because that's the they have to be in office.
Yeah,
it's like the sense is beyond me. But
yeah. So I think this affects our society very much. It has a huge effect on our society. So I have this question, right? How do you guys think that we now, as African kids, right? How do you guys think that we will be able to stand up to our parents and say, yeah, this is what we want to do. This is what I, as a person, I want to do. I can see your face, Emanuela. I know that it's very difficult, but what do you guys have to say about this?
Manuela, run away.
I'm actually contemplating on running away. Like,